Hello everybody! Sasuke 25 is right around the corner, which means it's time for predictions! I got my Sasuke shirt on and I am ready to go. So, we have a lot to talk about and very little time. Well, actually we have a lot of time, but I just like to save very little time for dramatic effect. So, let's get things started, shall we? The first person that we're going to talk about hails from a faraway land. He is the Bulgarian gymnast Jordan Jochev, and I think he is going to do okay. He's had some trouble in the first stage test, and I think he will continue to have trouble as he will fall victim to the warped wall, which looks like a giant G right now. There, that's better. Now it looks like a J. He'll just... It's not easy. He's had trouble in the past, even though in the first time he competed, he got up the warp wall and then finished the rope climb with 6 seconds left. He got to the top with 0 seconds on the clock. It was amazing. Back in Sasuke 8. Actually, it was 8 seconds left, not 6. But I'm just too excited, because Sasuke 25 is coming. Anyway, enough about that. From one Olympic competitor to another. Now let's talk about Paul Anthony Herrick. I think he won't do that well. Oh sure, he's made it to the third stage once before the big redesign, but he'll have trouble on the first stage. I think he's going to do it again. However, I think it's going to be his best performance after 17, and he's going to time out on the net climb. Or the final climb, whatever you want to call it. It looks like a tic-tac board that's gone horribly wrong as far as I know, but I think he'll go that far. And what do you know, we have another Olympic athlete, except he didn't actually compete in the Olympics. It was World Games. He tried, but wasn't quite there. In case you haven't figured it out, I'm talking about Mydoriyama. And I think that he will do quite well. He always has done quite well, except for that one time that we didn't get to see how well he did, or in this case, how not well he did back in 21. But we're up to 25 now. I think he will make it to the third stage, but I don't think he'll be any match for the final ring. For some reason, I just don't think he'll make the jump. I'm not sure why, though. I could be making stuff up. But then again, I guess that's what predictions really are, aren't they? Make stuff up and have it sound logical somehow. Moving on! Up next is a man who's made it to the third stage 3 times. No more, no less. I am talking about Akira Mori, aka the Monkey. I think he will not make it past the first stage. Something tells me that he might even have trouble in the very beginning of the first stage. I don't know why. It's just a hunch that I have that think that maybe the first or second obstacles might give him trouble. However, I do have a feeling that he will at least make it to this obstacle, which I'm actually drawing sort of correctly this time around. The jumping spider! That's what that's supposed to be. That's supposed to be the jumping spider. Last time I did something like this, I was lazy and I just draw a giant spider. But this time, I'm not being lazy, I draw the whole thing. Except now it looks like a mess because I overdrew a spider with the jumping spider. That makes it a double spider. Ah! But enough silliness. We now have to get very serious, because this next competitor is very, very serious. I'm of course talking about Wacky. Yes! I hit the target. I think that despite the fact that he is the best comedian competitor, according to the Sportsman's #1 celebrity edition, because they keep reminding us that, he will continue to not pass the first stage. And I believe, in my personal opinion, he will not make it past the half-pipe attack. However, I don't think he'll fail this part. No. I don't think he'll fail this part. No. I think he'll fail this area part. The landing, the platform, something in that area will trip him up. And don't you... When I'm right, you're going to look back at this and be like, that was a pretty accurate prediction to assume that he's going to fail the landing part of the half-pipe attack. Don't you forget it. But moving on, we now turn to one of the most people-friendly competitors ever, who everyone just loves and adores no matter what. I am, of course, talking a little excited that paper was. But anyway, I am of course talking about Sato. I know you want to get off this, but don't get too excited, alright? Just paper trying to get ahead of the game. But no, Sato, TV personality, competitor. God? Maybe. I think he's going to do very, very well. How well? I'll show you how well. I think he's going to make it to this obstacle. The hang climb. That's right. I think he's going to make it to the third stage. Am I crazy? I don't think so. I have a vision that Sato will go very far. Very far indeed. But enough about him. As much as I love talking about him, and everyone loves talking about him, we gotta move on. So we're gonna talk about our friendly neighborhood Taiwanese person, Li Yan-chi. I'm assuming that's how you spell it. For a long time I've been spelling it Y-E-N space C-H-I, but I've been told it's this. I think he's going to... Oh, yeah, actually I didn't erase it. Hang climbing. Yes, hang climbing! I think that's where he'll fail. And completely logical choice. I know, it really is. Hang climbing. But enough about that. Let's talk about America. Great country, and it's not just because I live in it, it's mostly because I live in it. But first let's talk about Richard King. He's a freerunner. He's an American. And I don't know how well he's going to do in the first stage. In fact, no one's going to know how well he's going to do in the first stage, because I feel like he's going to end up wearing pants that are so small that the entire world is just going to black out from what they see. Not because it's so bad, but because it's that good. It's going to be such a glorious image, everyone's going to turn into the characters of Fast Forward and just be like... And next thing you know, Richard King is going to be at the finish line with the gates open, and no one can confirm or deny if he actually made it. So they're just going to be like, alright, you can go to the second stage. However, then, I only question how well he'll do. Because it'll be cold, he'll have to wear pants. But I think that he's going to fall victim to... the unstable bridge. It's a very dastardly obstacle. In my personal opinion, actually, it's one of the best obstacles that they've come up with in quite a while. I must say. Very, very smartly done. Ingenious, even. But hey, who knows? But let's stick with America as we talk about stupid hooks. Brian Orozco. I think he's gonna put on his best performance ever. Why? Why? I'll tell you why. Because he will pull a Jackie Chan and get drunk before his run. He'll turn into a drunken master, but instead of doing Kung Fu, he'll be doing the Sasuke course. And he's going to dominate the first stage. He'll have the best time because he's so plastered that he'll reach the end. However, unfortunately, as we all know, when you're drunk, spinning, not the best thing in the world. So, unfortunately, I think he's going to fall victim to the metal spin. But it'll be an amazing first stage run that he'll have. He'll get to the jumpy spot and be like, just dominate. Be like, this is nothing. Do this with my eyes closed. In fact, I will close my eyes. And then he'll pass it. Because he's that good. But now, we turn to Mr. America himself. The white Sasuke Jesus. I am, of course, talking about one of the sexiest men alive in America. Levi Muhlenberg. People have criticized him in the past, saying that he's a show-off, that he's, doesn't respect the course or the competitors, and regardless of his intentions, he doesn't do things right. But let me tell you something. What we didn't know at the time was that he was practicing. That's right. Practicing. Because it turns out I have insider information. On this sheet of paper right here, I have insider info that tells me that in the second stage, there'll be a new flipping obstacle where you have to do backflips across platforms. And guess who does really well on that obstacle? People are like, oh, there's no point for flipping on the obstacle course. Well, guess what? It's perfectly needed now. And he will dominate it. Ironically, though, I think that he'll fail the spider flip. It's kind of weird like that. Unfortunately, I think he's going to try doing like a backflip like this, and as we all know, trying to catch yourself on the spider flip upside down, not an easy thing to do. Unfortunately. Yeah, guy likes flipping. Unfortunately, it wasn't the right type of flip. Wrong flip. It'll probably cost him. However, we have America Stars. We have All Stars, which we'll get to. But now we'll talk about the new stars, which officially there's only 2. So let's talk about the first one, shall we? I'm, of course, talking about Kano. Well, you would think that Kano would do very well because, he's done very well in the past. Unfortunately, he's not going to be there. You see, for those of you who don't know, he works at a pachinko bar, and while cleaning up some of the garbage during closing hours, unfortunately, he slipped on a few of the balls that were dropped on the ground, and he suffered an injury. You gotta feel for him because it was a groin injury, and no one likes groin injuries at all. So, hope you feel better, man. I'm rooting for you. I look forward to seeing you in Sasuke 26. However, now we must talk about the other new star. I am, of course, talking about Yuji. Sometimes I call him Yugi, which then makes me think about Yu-Gi-Oh! And then about card games, and then about Pokemon card games, and then about Pokemon cartoon, and the Pokemon video game, but enough about that. Last time, Yuji, he didn't do so well. It was quite surprising of how gloriously he failed in Sasuke 24. But unfortunately, I think the bad luck is going to follow him. And unfortunately, I think he's going to fail. Yeah, whatever. The the 12 Timbers! No, wait, that still sounds stupid. The Dodeca Step! I don't care what people call it, I still call it the Dodeca Step because that name makes sense. Yes, I know, it's the first obstacle. Unfortunately. It's so. Because I said so. But enough about this jibber-jabber about people that you don't care about that much. Let's get to the main attractions. The Elite Six. The people who you know will be there no matter what, unless there's an injury or someone actually honors their promise to retire. But I have a good feeling that they'll all be there. I get a lot of feelings. But this one was very, very strong. If you get what I'm saying. But first, let's talk about the man that you don't want to owe taxes to. Gunpei Shiratori. I think he's back. He's gonna be back in style. I think he's gonna pass the first stage. Unfortunately for him, they're gonna bring back the balance tank. And remember the time that he crashed and hit his head? Yeah. You know, where he was right here, his body was like this was his head, and the balance tank was right here, and then he went through this way, squeezed through. Yeah, I think he's gonna fail the balance tank again. And probably in a hilariously painful fashion, just like that. Wow, I just predicted that someone will suffer a horrible wipeout. Whatever. But let's get to one of the most frequently seen All-Stars of the six. I am talking about Mr. Sasuke himself. You know him. You love him. Even if you hate him, you love him because you hate him. I am talking about the empowerment of Arnold Schwarzenegger himself in a Japanese form. Katsumi Yamada. I'm also an idiot and said empowerment instead of embodiment. How will the Japanese Terminator do? He won't be there. In fact, they won't be talking about him. And neither will you, if you know what's good for you. If you know what I mean. I have no idea why that is, but I've been told I'm not supposed to talk about Yamada. In fact, I'm probably endangering myself right now just talking about him. So let's pretend this part of the video never happened, shall we? Okay. Good. Speaking of not seeing the picture, which is a terrible segue. But it allows me to talk about this guy, Kazuhiko Akiyama. How well is he going to do? Well, it's going to be a case of irony going on right now. You know how sometimes they bring in obstacles that are from their other shows onto different shows? You know, like how in 18 they had the weight carry, shoulder walk that was based on the galley from Viking, and the spider flip, which is based on the heartbreaker from Viking, and the downhill jump, which is awfully similar to Kunoichi's downhill jump, but instead it has a rope at the end, and the log grip, which is similar to the flying pillar in Kunoichi. They're going to bring back a different obstacle from Viking. They're going to start putting mental challenges in there. Yeah, insider info. I probably shouldn't even be telling you this. I probably just getting sued, but I'm doing it just for you guys. So, don't you forget it. Unfortunately, he's going to fail a math parlay obstacle. Because you won't be able to see the numbers properly. This will be in stage 2, so it'll be dark, making his eyesight even worse. And he'll probably read something simple like 10 plus 5 and think it's like 27 plus 32. Unfortunately, the Sasuke gods are not nice to anyone, regardless of who they are. And actually, the Sasuke gods are really nice compared to the gods of Mydoriyama, which is where Sasuke takes place, so think about that. Speaking of thinking, when you think Sasuke, and you think about all the competitors who have competed on Sasuke, you know whose name shows up the most when you look at a list of every competitor from every competition? This man. The gas station manager from ExxonMobil, Shingo Yamamoto. 25 competitions, 25 appearances. And this will be one of his good ones. Cliffhanger! Cliffhanger. That's right. We'll make it to the 3rd stage. At least halfway through the 3rd stage, or the middle of the 3rd stage. I guess that's what you want to call it. However, the real irony is that the entire time, Shingo's hat is going to stay on his head. I know what you're thinking. That doesn't happen. Well, this time, it's going to. It'll be weird. He'll have his hat on the whole time, so he'll be styling and profiling, if you know what I mean. Speaking of styling, next we're going to talk about a guy who makes orange pants look like a total fashion statement. Probably helps that he has a body to match it. And I could say that because I respect him. I'm talking about Takeda. Toshihiro Takeda. I don't care how I pronounce the word. I say it the way I want. I would never say that to his face. But I say his name the way I want. But I know Takeda. He's a good friend of mine. He stays cool under pressure. So, for the first time ever, we're going to see the man stay cool. He stays so cool because he deals with the hot all the time. He deals with the pressure all the time. He's a firefighter. He has to go into burning buildings. He needs to stay cool. Be cool, dog. He'll stay cool and he'll go far. Final stage far. That's right. I think it's gonna happen. The final stage. I don't know if he'll beat it, but just him making the final stage will go down in history as one of the greatest moments of Sasuke ever in the history of the show. Because he's that cool. But enough about that. There is one man we have left to talk about. He is the true Sasuke God. Everyone else, they're Jesus at best. But this man is God himself. In human form. I mean, honestly, have you seen this guy perform on the obstacle courses? It's practically inhuman what he can do. The man every competitor wants to be. Between his fresh looks, his tan body, his rocking hair, and his wife. He has a good choice in women. I'm talking about Makoto Nagano. How far do I think he'll go? I'm thinking jumping spider. Because wait a minute. Oh God, silly me. Who am I kidding? Makoto Nagano, he can never fail the jumping spider. He dominates that thing. He dominates trampolines in Spider. He'll never fail it, ever. I mean, he's that good. He'll never fail it. I mean, you would need a complete freak accident. I mean, you'd have a better chance of getting struck by lightning twice than Nagano failing the jumping spider. It's just, I mean, once he beats an obstacle, there's like a 1 in a trillion chance he'll actually fail it while attempting it a second time. I'm thinking he's gonna reach, you know, the final stage. Simply because, I mean, he has the record for most final stage appearances, so if there's one person that you're gonna bet to reach the final stage, it's gonna be Nagano. Let's be realistic here. Because, well, he's the best. But what about stages? I mean, we got some of the competitors, but there's competitors who I haven't mentioned. There's a bunch of competitors, a total of 100, allegedly, give or take. But how many people do I think are going to pass each stage? Well, for the first stage, I think that we're going to see a total of 12 people passing. For the second stage, it's going to be difficult. So I think we're only going to see a total of 5 people passing. And then, for the third stage, I think of those 5 people who pass the second stage, we will see 7 people pass the third stage. But of course, there's still one question left. Will anyone beat the final stage and achieve total victory? Or as they apparently say in Japan, Kazeshina, or however the heck you pronounce it. That's why I go by English names. I'm terrible at pronouncing Japanese. Heck, I'm terrible at pronouncing English words, let alone Japanese. Well, I'll tell you what I think. Yes! Heck yes, I think someone's gonna beat the final stage. I mean, it's just so obvious. Every time the course is getting a little bit easier, it seems, so I think it's only a matter of time before we see a third winner. But who's gonna beat it? It's someone who I haven't mentioned yet. I think the third person to beat the final stage of Sasuke will be Minoru Kurimochi, better known as the Octopus. I mean, just look at that guy. He's ripped. I wouldn't want to get an arm wrestling match with him. He's nimble, he's strong. He makes the color red look really well, no matter where he wears it. And I think he will achieve total victory. And I am willing to bet 25 million Monopoly dollars that he's going to do it. So thank you for watching. And I'll see you with my review of Sasuke 25 sometime in the future. When? I don't know. History has shown in the past that I've been lazy with my videos. But I'll see you in the future. I hope you enjoyed Sasuke 25. But until then, I'll see ya. Oh yes, I almost forgot. There is one last thing that I have to predict, and that is, when will G4 air Sasuke 25? Well, let's look at some of the facts. We know that Sasuke 23 originally aired in Japan in October of 2009, and will be airing on G4 in April 2010. And we know that Sasuke 24 aired in Japan January of this year and will air on G4 in April of this year. So, with Sasuke 25 airing this March, I predict that Sasuke 25 will air in November. In fact, Thanksgiving. Instead of watching football, G4 will tell us to watch Ninja Warrior instead on our Thanksgiving Thursday. Because that is good marketing. So G4, if you're listening, I just gave you a great idea. I'll expect a check in the mail.